Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I am once again simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle, and I hope you all are doing well. As we walk through history here, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. President Donald J. Trump is on Air Force One heading toward a historic signing ceremony with going to Egypt and Israel. What happens a lot of times when he goes off to other countries? Sometimes people get arrested. Yeah, that's clean hands. I've always talked about clean hands. So to get an accurate meme for the thumbnail I use, they would have to have multiple school buses where you could see the faces through the school buses instead of a white Bronco. I mean, face after face after face after face. But anyway, we'll get into that in a second. But what do I do while people are filing in and getting ready to spend their time with me tonight? I usually play some videos so you all can get a cup of coffee or a cold boo-ha or let's see, I already said gin and tonic, rum and coke. Rum and coke, yeah, that's good. That sounds good. Whatever you want. So anyway, folks, let's play these videos and we'll be like butter and get on a roll.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay.
A tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up.
This is the one weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably put it to the head because of things that they say about me, about democracy, the threat to democracy. They're a threat to democracy.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
And they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
And he's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will
Hi, folks. How's everybody tonight? Thank you for tuning in and joining me. I do appreciate it very much. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. I almost did a talking head video, but I had so much stuff in my studio. I said, man, I gotta get this stuff out there. Hi, Sissy. How you doing? Baby nurse. Baby Colette. How you doing? Ha ha. Wait a minute, where'd it go? Elva's here, Randy's here, Robin's here, Sherry's here, Miss Minder's here, Bubba. Bubba made it. How you doing, Bubba? Whiskey's here. All right, well, let me make sure I get everybody. All right, who'd I miss? Elva, baby nurse, Robin, Sherry, Ann. Nice to see you, Ann. I don't want to miss Ann. Andrew's here. Wayne's here. Give me thumbs up. Yes, thumbs up help the video get around. So make sure you do that favor for me and PODGE that thumbs up button. That's called Podge. How you doing, Rebecca and Flannel Cheese? So anyway, Trump put this up, and he didn't make any comment. There he is, Donald J. Trump, at real Donald J. Trump. Harrison Design. What is it? A Golden Age arch? A victory arch? What is that, folks? Does anybody have any inside info what that is? Ha ha ha. I found it interesting. And as I do every time that I spot when we have a famous person, part of our cultural history, pass on. Have you all heard about Diane Keaton? An iconic actress, right? 79 years old. And yeah, we're thinking Red October and all kinds of stuff, but she did star in Godfather 3, also Godfather 1 and 2. But anyway, Diane Keaton, an iconic actress best known for roles in Annie Hall, The Godfather, and The First Wives Club, sadly passed away. Rest in peace. So, yeah, I'm not going to read anything into that. I'm just pointing out that she was in Godfather 3. The new gate for Arlington, Bubba says. Well, we got some big doings coming up in Northern Virginia, right? Of which Arlington is a part. Big doings, big trials and stuff. George Fraud. I put that up for you to put in your on your meta page and make the liberals good and angry. I got to get this off screen. Pow, there we go. Hi, Darla. How you doing? Todd, nice to see you. Are my chats frozen or what? Goodbye, Kamala. We just got George Fraud on the screen. So, yeah, there's going to be some big doings going on. In Virginia altogether, here's that governor's race is coming up, folks. And I saw this post on Libs and TikTok and also on Citizen Free Press. This is Abigail Spanberger. She's currently leading in the polls to be Virginia's next governor. Think of the memories that brings back. Stay home, stay safe. All the videos that came out about staying away from the unvaccinated people. They're the real problem in society. Yeah. Big hips Tish. Yeah, that's right. She's 66 years old. I didn't know that. I didn't think she was that far up in her age. Not that there's anything wrong with that, But I thought she was younger. So Trump is heading off to China, not China, to Egypt and Israel to sign the peace agreement. Here he is, getting ready to head out. His umbrella had a little piece of it jump off that spike there on one side. But anyway, let me go ahead and play him.
And I guess if you read your own papers and your own networks, everybody's very excited about this moment in time. So I'll see you on the plane. I think you're traveling with us, but this is a very special event. They had 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel, and also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before. Usually if you have one cheering, the other isn't. The other is the opposite. This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved. And we're going to have an amazing time, and it's going to be something that's never happened before. So I'll see you on the plane, and we're going to have a good time. Okay, Peter?
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, so I had a longer video of him getting on the plane. It was rainy, and I think Scavino took a background picture of him. But here he is, getting off on Air Force One. And I don't know how long he's going to be gone for, but is John Bolton going to get snatched up next? Who's going to get snatched up? I always thought, I've expressed that in my opinion. They do these things when Trump is on a big foreign visit somewhere, okay? It's like Trump has said, I might have a video of that, where he says, I think it was J.D. Vance says, J.D. Vance says, we're letting the Justice Department handle it. We're not getting involved. We got stuff we're doing. And it's this clip, him being able to say this stuff without being interrupted or a counterpoint sent his way this is NBC, I think. It's even more evidence to me that the Truth and Reconciliation Act's kicking in, and these networks are starting a little bit to play ball with reality.
Case. I think if you look at the case, the fact that a far-left grand jury in a far-left area indicted Letitia James and James Comey, if you look at the fact that James Comey obviously lied under oath, Letitia James obviously committed mortgage fraud, what we're doing is letting the law drive the prosecution decisions in the Department of Justice. You know who we haven't prosecuted? Joe Biden or Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton.
Okay,
unlike Biden's Department of Justice, Kristen, which actually went after Donald Trump in the midst of an election, we are not doing that. We are letting the law drive these decisions.
Well, she tried. What's that, Chris? Which one is this girl's name? I forget. I forget her name. But Trump put out a few things about prosecutions. And of course, the left is going to jump on it. I'll put them up as I come across them in my studio. I think somebody's going to get jammed up this week. I don't know. We're going to see. Let me see what this one is from real Donald Trump. Talking about Chuck Schumer. Almost lost my situation here. Chuck Schumer recently said every day gets better during the radical left shutdown. I disagree. If nothing is done because of leader, in quotes, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, our brave troops will miss the paychecks they are rightfully due on October 15th. That is why I'm using my authority as Commander-in-Chief to direct our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to use all available funds to get our troops paid on October 15th. We have identified funds to do this, and Secretary Hegseth will use them to pay our troops. I will not allow the Democrats to hold our military and the entire security of our nation hostage with their dangerous government shutdown. The radical left Democrats should open the government, and then we can work together to address health care and many other things they want to destroy. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that's what I figured. I said he was going to do something, make sure the troops got paid. And what Congress gets their checks, you know. People like AOC, they're more important than the military. Yasmin Crockett, got to make sure she gets her check. I got this in a clear, the one I put up last time was fuzzy. So I found one clear. Who did I get this off of? I'm not sure. Yeah. Gaza peace deal announcement. The last one I had was fuzzy. If you all want a screenshot of that. Because the left is always looking for something bad to happen as far as MAGA and Trump goes. You could cure cancer. You've seen that meme 1,000 times. And they would still find something to BI, and then, I ain't going to say. They still find something to complain about. They don't care. They just want chaos and disruption. You know, I put my thumbnail title, Qatari hoax. Qatari U.S.-based hoax. I may have got some screenshots. I almost copied a video. One lefty character that puts up videos, but I didn't waste my time. He, you know, wears ball caps and acts like he's a good old boy, but he's a leftist, you know. One of these $8,000 a month pay guys, I'm sure, was sounding the alarm bell. Trump is letting Qatar put a base on U.S. soil. I didn't have time to do it, but I was going to get a screenshot of this map of Qatar. What are they, about a third of the size of New Jersey? Hi, Pappy Two Bears. How you doing? See if I missed anybody. But, and then you get a lot of people, most of the ones who jumping on late, you know, as far as the Trump train goes, but they're conservative, but they haven't been paying attention. And now they see something like this and go, well, you can't let a foreign country put a military base on U.S. soil. I used to like Trump, but I don't like him now. Listen, you people, it's a training base, okay? They're paying for it. We're gonna train people to use our weapons and equipment on weapons deals that's making this country billions of dollars. We're getting another ally in that area that's going to do things we don't have to do anymore. So we won't have to go into Fallujah. We won't have to have special forces riding horses in Afghanistan. You know, we want to build up alliances. So what are we going to do? We're going to send 300, 500 advisors, trainers, or maybe more, maybe 2 or 3 times that, halfway around the world. We're going to send a lot of technical manuals, information, exchange stuff back and forth halfway across the world, pay for them to have relief so they can come back home and spend time with their family. We're going to switch out personnel and be vulnerable to espionage, sabotage, spying. Or are we going to have them come here, pay for it all, have their own, butter their own bread, and be responsible for their own troops and pay for it all? And we would be a lot more secure. way more secure, and it would be way less disruptive to the people that are going to be involved in training these people how to handle the equipment they're purchasing off of us. Now, does that make sense? It is I don't want to call them young punks. It's a training facility, a boot camp, okay? And they're going to be getting technical advice, and they're going to be doing hands-on training on jets and communications and all this kind of stuff. And it is way less of a security risk for them to come to us, get their training here instead of us packing our bags and going all the way halfway around the world. Does that make sense to you all? Of course, because you all are smart. You are the high IQ people in the Trump movement, not the low IQ people. But I constantly see on Midas Trash Network and a lot of these other subversive channels that Trump is violating U.S. law by letting another country have a military base. We'd squash them like a fly. I should have asked some opinions before because everybody. Hi, Rhonda. How you doing? I don't have one bit of a problem. They're going to spend billions here in America and have that just a little pimple of a base, you know? Don't forget, Nevada was nothing until it became a way station, a pass-through for troops heading over, being drafted into World War II. And that's when it grew into Vegas because it stimulated the economy. Well, that's why everybody say, well, the mob built Vegas. Well, they wouldn't have went there if there wasn't money flying around, and the money was bases, okay? Hi, Yvonne. Nice to see you. So if anybody's out there ringing a bell or acting like Trump's giving the country away, just know you're dealing with somebody that can't see past their nose. And if you thought that way and you heard from me and agree, then, I realize people are being hit with psyops, and kind of like I had a little situation with somebody putting a comment in one of my videos. I'm going to go over that. Somebody who allowed themselves to be victimized by altering history, making it where we should be ashamed of ourselves for being in this country. And I'll get to that in a minute. But I haven't been putting stuff. I got a lot of stuff I need to put on the screen. Let's see here. This is which parliament is this? They are voting on. I think this is to which country is this? They're in the EU, and they're voting to remove themselves from the EU's censorship program. I forgot which country this is. Let me see. Does any of that language ring a bell with you all? I think it's a translator. Let me play it. Because there's a big push, as we all know, over in the EU for people to be ashamed of themselves for being European colonizers and to welcome new neighbors to destroy their own culture.
Minister, is it your intention to reintroduce the hate speech legislation that was a dramatic failure in the last government and proposed by the previous Minister for Justice?
No. but can I just give you an overview as to why the answer is no? I'm fairly satisfied that Ireland has transposed the European Council framework decision on combating certain forms and expressions of racism and xenophobia in a manner appropriate and tailored to the domestic system of law in Ireland. I want to assure members of the House that Ireland's position has been communicated to the European Commission, and our position is that the framework decision is fully transposed in Irish legislation in a manner that is appropriate and tailored to Ireland's domestic system of criminal law and procedure, and is in line, of course, with Article 40.6 of the Constitution, which expressly respects and protects the rights to freedom of expression and people to express their views freely.
Yeah, it's Ireland. They're telling the EU to stick it as far as their crazy hate speech laws, which means if you don't agree with them, you're a hater, right? So, hi, Wake and Trillium, how you doing? Brush, how you doing? Graybeard, nice to see you. Yeah, so it's Ireland. I couldn't remember because I got this clip the other day, but I didn't get to play it because I was going to talk about our free speech. I mean, Charlie Kirk's assassination was over his speech. I've got a good video. Let me find it. I got a good video here. Let me play this about free speech. They ought to play it over there in the EU, make them all listen to it.
It begins with censorship, it moves to the destruction of statues and monuments, and it ends with the murder of people. It begins with censorship, it moves to the destruction of statues and monuments, and it ends with the murder of people. The drive to silence speech doesn't end at a podium's edge or at the four corners of a page. It always advances toward the violent elimination of speakers. And that is because the authoritarian impulse to silence speech is driven by a totalitarian desire to seize total power by any means necessary, up to and including the murder of one's political opponents. This dynamic was made clear on a Tuesday afternoon in Utah last month when my friend Charlie Kirk was assassinated in broad daylight by a left-wing transgender ideologue who is enraged by Charlie's clear understanding and teaching that God created us male and female, that boys cannot become girls and girls cannot become boys. Charlie was murdered by this left-wing assassin who had been radicalized by demonic transgender ideology because he was one of the most bold and effective speakers in the country opposed to this evil ideology. Rather than see a nation unite against terroristic violence designed to permanently silence speech, we actually saw the opposite. We witnessed people praising the murder of Charlie. We witnessed people thanking his assassin. We even witnessed members of the United States Congress all but say that Charlie deserved it. That isn't the only recent example. The Democrat candidate for Attorney General in Virginia was revealed last week to have called for the murder of one of his political opponents. Even worse, he also said he wanted his opponent to witness the murder of his own children, to watch them die in their mother's arms. Why? To make him feel pain for having different political opinions. How many here today condemned that insanity or publicly recognized that someone with such a broken moral compass is simply unqualified to be a state's top law enforcement officer? We have heard the tired cliche that riots are the language of the unheard. But the reality is that violence is the language of the unhinged, and far too many people in this room are fluent in it.
My name is Sean Day.
Now, I'm putting a caveat on here. I'm not censoring any of the words out that he's using, any of the descriptions, like demonic transgender ideology, the M-U-R and then D-E-R word. I'm not censoring none of that. You know why? Because this was spoken to a committee in Congress. This is in the Congress of the United States as part of the congressional record, and that should not be censored. If it was not objected to, it was not struck from the record by the chairman. It was allowed in the congressional record. It should be allowed to be broadcast. I'm sorry, I interrupted this guy right when he's telling his name. Oh, my goodness.
Davis, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of The Federalist, a conservative digital media company that focuses on politics, culture, and religion. I'm also a victim of illegal and unconstitutional censorship. My company, my colleagues, and I have been the targets of a coordinated and global multi-year censorship campaign. In 2020, a foreign government-connected outfit in the UK colluded with Google to demonetize The Federalist. Our crime? We published an article in the summer of 2020 entitled, "The Media Are Lying to You About Everything, Including the Riots." Later that year, in the midst of a close and heated presidential election campaign, government-funded efforts in the U.S. repeatedly censored Molly Hemingway, The Federalist editor-in-chief and a New York Times bestselling author who's here behind me today, and me because of our election reporting and commentary. I was censored for posting a screenshot of and a link to a Pennsylvania Supreme Court decision requiring mail-in ballots received after Election Day and lacking a postmark to be counted and presumed as valid votes. Molly was censored for posting a link to an article The Federalist published. The headline of that article, "America Won't Trust Elections Until the Voter Fraud is Investigated." But the censorship didn't stop there. We were also targeted for bankruptcy and destruction by the U.S. State Department and its Global Engagement Center, or GEC. Despite the fact that GEC was explicitly prohibited by both the U.S. Constitution via the First Amendment and its authorizing statute from targeting domestic speech, it nonetheless sought to drive us out of business by funding, developing, and distributing technologies and tools to reduce our reach, by bullying advertisers into blacklisting us and many other conservative outlets, and by coercing big tech companies like Facebook, Google, and Twitter to throttle access to our content. In essence, our own government secretly and without any due process charged us with thought crimes, convicted us, and sentenced the Federalists to death. The censorship efforts our government funded with our money are still being wielded against us today. I'm here today to testify about the unconstitutional and illegal censorship of my company and my colleagues. But I'm also here to help you understand the real-world consequences in flesh and in blood of the drive to silence your political opposition. It doesn't stop at the page's end. The effort to censor and silence political opposition is not the final step in the effort to usher in tyranny and authoritarianism. It begins with censorship. It moves to the destruction of statues and monuments, and it ends with the murder of people, and it has to stop.
There you have it. Now, I put that disclosure in the middle of this just in case my videos get reviewed. I don't know if I'm out of the crosshairs that I knew I was in well over a month ago. I knew it was coming. You all are my witnesses. I said they're getting ready to drop the hammer on me. And they did. But I appealed, and they were gracious about it. Now, I've talked about this guy many times. Hassan Parker. He's called for the assassination of state senators. He's broadcast Hamas videos, propaganda videos. He's mocked the coffins of infants on a streaming site that's meant for kids, gaming. And it's never been a problem. What's he get in trouble for now? He has a dog that he has behind him while he's talking on his live stream. I guess because algorithms show that if there's an animal in the live stream, people watch more, or they like the stream more, they're curious about the dog or whatever. Turns out the dog apparently had a shock collar on. And if the dog tried to move out of the scene or go get a drink of water, or I don't know, he would push a button and shock the dog. He did it on a live stream, and the dog yelped really loud. And, so there's cartoons out about him. But all the other stuff is okay, right? It's kind of like with Dr. Fauci. People wouldn't listen what we were saying about Dr. Fauci. But when it came about the beagles, people started, and I like animals, but in a way, it's a sad commentary that you have to see an animal get hurt before people start zeroing in on what's wrong with these individuals. You should have got upset when you found out about the other things I discussed, just like with Dr. Ouchie. But whatever it takes to get people like this off the air, it's not censorship. It's not censorship. It's violent speech. I view what that Judge April what's-her-face Parker or whatever her name is that put out a court order telling ICE or federal officials that they can't push people, they can't hit them with a pepper ball or rubber bullets. What are they supposed to do? For me, that's a permission slip. A permission slip. The 2 reports came out just yesterday and today where ICE agents one of them had their windshields bashed in their vehicle. They're following them home. They're doxing them. JLR Investigates had a story up today about where they assaulted an ICE agent and followed him. They know they're not going to get pushed back from federal agents because this judge, you might as well give him a permission slip. We've had Pritzker using his code of language, stand up. All this language. Not just about ICE agents, but anyone who's conservative. Garrison put out this cartoon. He's got all the creepos up there. Walsh, Waters, Biden, Newscomb, and Jeffries. Quotes from them. And then the Democrat Party saying Republicans should tone down their rhetoric. Where's that one video I got? Here. I'm going to play this. I might play it twice. I don't know. Let me see. They're calling this guy, boy, I tell you what, it's probably a good thing I'm not around at these things. Because back in my day, judges recognized a term called fighting words. Not so much nowadays. But back in my day, you said something to somebody, got your nose twisted. You're looking for trouble, and baby, you found it. Okay? Fighting words. But anyway, they're calling him T-Moo Charlie. And watch what this one person does out of the crowd. This one malcontent, misfit, miscreant. Watch what they do toward this guy. You see at the end where she was pointing? Where she was pointing? And look at that tubby dude in the purple jacket screaming T-Moo Charlie Kirk. But watch where she points at the end. She pretends her finger's a gun. She's shooting it off his face. Pointing at her neck. That's why I was saying this guy that did this to Charlie Kirk, it should be a fair but quick trial, and he should be given the ultimate punishment, just like Timothy McVeigh was. He should be out of here within 6 months, just like McVeigh was. Hi, Bill. How you doing? Yeah, he did say that we deserve 9/11. That other guy, Hassan Piker. But anyway, I had something from, I wonder if I still have it in here. Something from, about Katy Perry and her music, along with Taylor Swift. And it was kind of isolated story. And they're talking about their music just going satanic. Their actions, their shows. I'm looking for it. And it was from Laura Logan. I mean, yeah, Laura Logan put it up. And it was an isolated story. And I said, well, maybe I'll save that for later. Let me see if I can find it. And then this week, something crops up about her and Justin Trudeau. Katy Perry, I had no idea. I mean, they're all part of the club, aren't they? I'll have to find it. I mean, there's so much that pops up. So much. Kind of like this. I didn't get to put this up the other day. Typical African. This video will make you wonder if this is what Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey sacrificed their time and lives for. I don't think that's what they sacrificed their time and lives for, young man. I'm sure he knows that too. But anyway, I don't see it right offhand, but I will put up this. Laura Logan's point was that Katy Perry and what's the name, Taylor Swift and another artist, that their music was devolving into these satanic themes. And, they're mostly influencing kids. Where did that go? Well, I don't see it. But let me put this up. Where is it? Here it is. I kissed Trudeau and liked it. Just to show you it's a big club and we ain't in it. Eye-popping pictures prove Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau are a couple. Friends spill on the romance. There they are. Small world when it comes to these satanists. That's what I think. My opinion, okay? And I get to say my opinion. For now. Till they try to shut me down. Aha. Billions for free illegal alien health care or else. Trump said, go ahead and make my day. Mass government employee firings. He gave them fair warning if they didn't open the government up. But I want to ask you all a question. Weren't we supposed to have some serious testimony in Congress concerning Epstein and other issues like the Clinton Foundation from Bill and Hillary? Is that part of the reason why we're having a government shutdown? So they won't hold those hearings? What do you think, folks? How much do you think that's got to do with this government shutdown? Because they put Steve Bannon in jail for not showing up. We can go down the list, people they arrested for not showing up. So if Bill and Hillary didn't show up, and we got Comey charged with lying to Congress. So if they don't show up or if they do show up and lie, either way, they're in a trick box unless the government stays shut down. So they're going to shut the government down, and we're going to see stories like this. Daily Caller News Foundation. Trump administration fires entire agency in one swift move amid Schumer shutdown. Very good. That's what it's called, the Schumer shutdown. Adam Pack and Melissa O'Rourke. Hopefully they'll rise in the ranks. It was 4,000 is what I heard altogether. But this one agency, let's see what this agency is about. The White House began conducting mass layoffs on Friday amid a prolonged government shutdown, including slashing an entire department under the U.S. Department of the Treasury. The entire staff at the Community Financial Institution Fund, CDFI, for the community, received a layoff notice on Friday. Good. An administration official confirmed to the Daily Caller News Foundation. The program's elimination comes as the White House officials repeatedly warned that the administration would pursue mass firings and budget cuts if Democrats did not reverse course and reopen the government. Yes, he did. He gave plenty of warning. Come on. I got some stuff on my screen. Wait a minute. There we go. I'll put up the other part of this article. This article. The agency employs 102 full-time staff, according to its most recent annual report. Well, I wonder what they do. What critical function are we missing out on? The fund claims to, quote, expand economic opportunity for underserved people and communities by supporting the growth and capacity of financial institutions. But critics have argued the agency had drifted from its mission and become politicized. Who decides who's underserved? The RIFs have begun, President Donald Trump budget chief Russ Vought wrote on X Friday, using an acronym for reductions in force, the RIFs. The reduction in force plans are expected to impact departments across the government. It's unclear how many federal workers will ultimately receive layoff notices before October 1st deadline. The OMB directed agencies to draft, targeted crap we don't need or people that are outright breaking the law. Let's see. The fund was targeted because the program illegally doled out awards based on race and espoused left-wing gender ideology and radical climate policies, according to the administration official. Trump signed an executive order in March restricting federal agencies, including the CDFI fund, to their legally mandated functions as part of his broader effort to reduce elements of the federal government determined to be unnecessary. Let's see. The fund awarded $4.9 million to the Local Initiatives Support Corporation, which publishes material condemning what? Whiteness in community development. Not only unnecessary, but it's illegal. It supported LGBTQ clinics that provide so-called gender-affirming hormone therapy to clients of any age. Yeah. So, no, we're not missing them. Goodbye. Goodbye to you. Yeah, I'm not missing that. Let's see what this is. Jack Posobiec put this up. Salt Lake Tribune runs hole-in-the-head comic suggesting a call for violence against Utah GOP lawmakers. The cartoon depicted the congressman in a wanted poster with red around each lawmaker's neck. Around their neck, get it? So that's what they do now. If they see somebody they think is MAGA or whatever, they point at their necks, saying, "You're next, you're next." See what else Posobiec has here. Oh, professor at Northeastern Illinois University with suspected Antifa ties, arrested with a loaded gun at Chicago ICE protest. How much money they get from the federal government? Plenty of colleges get money from us. Elias Cepeda was taken into custody on September 26th after federal agents found him carrying a loaded handgun and multiple rounds of ammunition. I wonder what that was for. Trump put out something pretty long. Let me see if I can find it. About colleges. Here it is. I think this is it. Whoa, wait a minute. What happened? Yeah, this is it. This is from Donald Trump. Throughout most of our history, America's colleges and universities have been a great strategic asset of the United States. Tragically, however, much of higher education has lost its way and is now corrupting our youth and society with woke, socialist, anti-American ideology that serves as justification for discriminatory practices at universities that are unconstitutional and unlawful. My administration is fixing this, and fast, with our great reform agenda in higher education. Our nation's great institutions will once again prioritize merit and hard work before group identity, resulting in tremendous new research and opportunity to benefit all Americans, and equality being honored in American businesses, courts, and culture. Wow, I told you it was a long screed. There's where they plant the seeds. They plant the seeds for the garbage that people get pumped in their heads about our country. That is false. I'll go over a comment I got in the on one of my videos in a minute. Let's see. What did I miss something? Agreement, the federal government to help bring about the golden age of academic excellence in higher education. They will agree to follow federal law and protect the civil rights of all students, faculty, employees on campuses. They will stop racist admission policies and put an end to unjust and illegal discrimination in faculty hiring. These institutions will commit to high-quality standards, an intellectually open campus environment, including the protection of free speech and debate, institutional neutrality, major steps toward affordability for students, and an end to the entanglement of foreign money in the finances of American universities. Foreign influence, that's where we're getting these communist professors and class structures and what have you. Americans deserve to be treated in accordance with their demonstrated achievements and potential. And upon regaining this fundamentally American value, our nation will be unstoppable. We will once again have universities that develop the talents of our amazing young people to lead lives of success and fulfillment, cultivate a love of country, and a culture of achievement, and help make all Americans proud, safe, prosperous, and free. So we're going to get rid of foreign money, and we're going to get rid of Marxist ideology being pushed in schools and other unlawful subject matters that they put out there. So I got a comment about, let me see if I can put something else on the screen. I don't know. Yeah, I'll put this up. History that is never taught. The first 23 black congressmen were all Republicans. That's just one of many things that are not taught. Here, this is something else. Something as basic to civilization as the 10 Commandments. Government can't impose morality. But you see everything he's got around his desk and on his walls. Whoops. Let me see. There we go. So anyway, I get this comment after I did a live stream. 2-hour live stream almost. I blacked the guy's name out. Because I'm not about that. But I got a couple problems with this situation. It was on my video, comment on real fraud. Will Tish Singh, peace declared. Antifa International, follow the money. Been watching your channel for a long time. But that indigenous comment you made about cutting hearts out and sacrificing people was some BS. I'm guessing you're smart enough to know that that was the Mayans from Mexico and not Native Americans. Disappointed coming from you. Not sure if I'll continue watching your show after that horse HSH comment. Semper Fi. Those of you who have been watching me for a long time, I said one of the movies everybody should watch and encourage their friends to watch is Apocalypto. Yeah, that was about Aztecs, not just Mayans. Okay? But watch it. Along with other movies I'll talk about human slavery going on in the 1970s was acknowledged and shown on video by a suppressed movie. But to think that there wasn't, I guess I can use the word cannibalism, abuses, just because somebody was from North America versus South America. First of all, I don't like anybody threatening me with unsubscribing or not watching. YouTube's got 100,000 channels to watch. Go watch another channel. I've said, I don't know how many times not to put foul words on my channel, mine, in the comments. But they do it anyway. I didn't block this person. I put a response up. And I left it up all day and never got a response. So I took the comment down, which I would have done anyway because it had foul language in it. Did not try to put an asterisk in or change the word, just used a foul word. And then Semper Fi, you better look that word up and quit throwing it around when you're behaving this way towards somebody else. That's an insult. used in this manner. So my response was this, which I did on the fly. Look up what happened to cavalry troops captured in Waukesha. What happened to all the homesteaders raided hundreds of times? Things I can't describe. No written language, didn't even have the wheel. Ask the Crow Nation why they fought with the American Army, I should have put U.S. Army, against savage warrior tribes. I'll address this issue in future broadcasts. You can romanticize barbaric pagan civilizations if you care to, but I don't. Don't forget the Aztecs also, and the Sioux routinely had hearts, livers, and legs and thighs on the menu after defeating and or conquering other tribes. That's a fact. To me, what has been taught in schools lately is simply the vilification of Judeo-Christian history and the, quote, stolen land guilt trip of the West, of the left. Yeah, it's time that Columbus Day. We're going to celebrate Columbus Day, not indigenous people. It's like Richard Pryor said, which you can't play any of Richard Pryor's stuff. His family won't let any of his stuff play. But he said if it wasn't for white men, you would still be jumping over buffalo crap with rags wrapped around your rear ends. And that it lasts back in the 70s and 80s. So, no, I'm not going to say Germanic tribes practice human sacrifice. I talked about that after the Battle of Teutoburg in 09 AD. 09 AD. Look it up. I'm not proud of that, and I'm German. That's why they called, in World War I, they called the Germans Huns, savages. So it's not like I'm picking on one race or group or culture. I'm talking about people that have not heard the word, okay, or have not reached a level of spirituality that's required to have a decent civilization. How can we live side by side with a civilization? The Battle of Waukesha, they found cavalrymen that were put over top of fires. Okay, remember the Seinfeld episode where his brother Robert was dating a girl he really liked, and Raymond saw her eat a fly. Remember that, folks? And he looked at Robert and said, "She ate it. She ate it." Well, that's what I'm referring to when I'm talking about what happened to those soldiers. They got eaten, okay? How are you going to have a civilization living right next door to something like that? That's what I'm talking about. But as children of the 60s, 70s, 80s, it got really bad, 80s, 90s, 2000s, that we destroyed a peaceful society where everything was great. And we had slavery. Yes, everybody had slavery. They had white slaves, Chinese slaves, Irish slaves, black slaves. Some of them were called indentured servants, but that's not talked about. But for me to be chastised about facts, no, ain't going to happen. Right here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute if you want to get a shot of this. 10,000 slaves Let me get a couple things off the screen. Let me get George Fraud off the screen. There you go. Anthony Johnson, black slaveholder. So black Africans sold other black Africans as slaves all around the world. And in America, free blacks owned over 10,000 black slaves. Why have you never heard about this in the media? In almost every state, including South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Louisiana, free blacks owned as many as 10,000 slaves in 1850, 15 years before the Civil War. And as you already know, many of them were congressmen. I told you about a house I worked on years ago, the Thomas Day House. Since, it was shortly after the Revolutionary War. He was a wealthy cabinet maker. He was a master woodcrafter. And he was a free black man living in North Carolina. Yeah, Graybird, that's right. They did. Yeah, the Crow were scouts and fought with the U.S. cavalry. Listen, anybody that thinks that there wasn't stuff like that going on with tribes like the Apache and Comanches are crazy. I'll go ahead and tell you, they skin people alive. Okay. You be sitting there. It's gross, but you couldn't close your eyeballs because your eyelids are gone. Your face is gone, but you're still alive. And then bury you in an anthill. I could tell you stories that were coming out as settlers moved west that are horrific. I'm just looking through the chats. I need to get some background music so you know I'm still broadcasting. But anyway, I don't mean to be hard on this person commenting to me, but you got to get real. And we got to shed this guilt trip business. This guilt trip, that's what the whole game is, a guilt trip. You're separating families. You're taking children and deporting their parents while they're here illegally. They got to go. We're tired of the guilt trips. We're tired of the guilt trips. And your economic status is what your freedoms were based on, especially pre-constitutional. You were an indentured servant or a slave, or what? If you weren't a wealthy landowner, your economic status had more with anything to do with how you were treated. And there were plenty of indentured servants of all races. And no, we could not have this nation function with these kind of savage Paleolithic, Stone Age tribes running around doing what they want. I mean, who the hell chops the hair, the scalp off of somebody, hangs it up over the dinner table? Hey, look what I got, a scalp. They're, what's his name? Rain in the Face. An Indian called Rain in the Face. He talks about how some of the girls in his tribe said, if you were a man, you'd bring us a scalp of a white man tonight. And to impress the girls, he rides off and comes across a preacher and another guy and kills them both and brings back trophies. So, yeah, we can live along that. Live alongside of that? Sure. No, we can't. Who's having a conversation in Portland, Debbie? What's it? Let's see what kind of conversations I've been seeing. What's this? I'm not even. I got to refresh my memory on what this video is here. Can you imagine bringing that home to meet mom and dad? And this stuff has been drilled into kids from high school. And if they did go to college, it gets drilled in their head even more. Satanic counterculture guilt trip about our country instead of being patriots.
You cannot carry our advocate any better. Well, see you, girl. I'll put money on your books. Wow, I should have followed him.
So we're going to look back at this madness. When has there ever been in 6,000 years of written history any government-sponsored attempt to promote the notion that children, young kids, can change their gender through psychologically or medically or surgically or chemically? When has it ever been recorded in thousands of years of human history for that to ever even be a damn notion? And how the hell did it happen to our country, and who the hell's behind it? Because in my mind, it's criminal to do that to a young person. Here in Spain, I believe. Let me see. Well, I might have the header for this. Let me see. Yeah. Here's the header. Man urinates. Oh, in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome during Mass. A man urinates in the presence of hundreds of pilgrims. Like I said, probably a good thing I'm not around these people. Yeah. Tell me there isn't a problem with spirituality. Here's a young guy getting told he's going to speak about Charlie Kirk, and his teacher tells him at the beginning of the video, you're going to have problems this year. In other words, she's threatening him. If you talk about Charlie Kirk, you're going to have problems this year with your grades, with how you do in a class.
It cannot just be yes, but. Cannot be every response that you give me. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, this year is going to be difficult for you.
That was part of the conversation Joshua Wilson had with the Student Government Programs Coordinator at Oklahoma State University.
Me and my buddy who gave a speech both got direct messages on GroupMe saying, hey, I need you in my office.
This private meeting sparked after Wilson spoke during the open comments section of a student government meeting about remembering and honoring Charlie Kirk. While doing this, Wilson was wearing this hat that Kirk gave him when he came to the OSU campus earlier this year for his Turning Point USA campus tour.
For me, personally, it has nothing to do with partisan politics whatsoever. It's just something I got at an event that meant a lot to me.
Wilson says the coordinator was at the government meeting when Wilson spoke about Kirk and never said anything that night about his hat.
I felt very threatened. Why isn't this something like we could have talked about in Senate? Why couldn't we just brought that up? Maybe a text message saying, hey, dress code is this, dress code is that.
But Wilson says it wasn't about dress code.
I have family who don't look like you, who are triggered, and I will be very candid with you, who are triggered by those hats and by that side.
I was respectfully saying that this hat wasn't partisan. Again, it was something that I got volunteering for Turning Point when Charlie Kirk came to campus. So it had nothing to do with partisan values, but with our First Amendment rights and protecting those. And she didn't find that that was an acceptable response, and that if I questioned that belief, that perhaps the year could not be easy for me.
Joshua also, since that meeting, his Senate University chair email has not been working.
Yeah, well, we've had to listen to all the filth and vitriol from the left for years. So you all are going to have to start listening to us. Here's somebody in, I believe this is in Chicago. Let's see.
Some of y'all might get mad at me. And at this point, I don't give a damn. I'm not into politics. I'm not into all of that extra stuff that people be losing their life over. I ain't into all that. We human. What else? But I will say thank you to Trump for bringing these National Guards and doing what they're doing down here in Memphis right now. You know, for the first time in 5 years. I've been in my home for 5 years. And for the first time, my kids have been able to play in the backyard and be able to do.
No, I'm sorry, it's in Tennessee. That's my fault, Tennessee.
Do it comfortably. I haven't heard a gunshot in 2 weeks. I haven't seen strange people walk up and down the street. Just a few weeks ago, I had somebody walk on the side of my house. None of that action's going on. I haven't seen no young YNs at the stove posted. I haven't seen an Infinity fly past me in weeks. I'm sitting on my porch right now, and I'm watching kids outside playing. People outside walking with their kids, stuff I ain't never seen before living in my neighborhood. But all because we feel safe in this environment, unfortunately, because of the things that are happening here in the city. I hate it had to be this way, but I'm happy. I'm happy. Honestly, I truly feel that this is just a band-aid to the problem. I don't think this is going to completely fix everything. But to have a moment of peace, just thank you, Jesus.
You know, she started it off by saying, some of y'all might get mad at me. You know, there's this residual fear that people have. And I'm calling it residual because it's going away. People are getting braver. And, but there is this fear that they're going to be ostracized or picked on or whatever from these lefties. But, you know, she's brave enough to put it out there. She feels safe. Thank you, President Trump. And so people are going to get braver and braver and braver. And we got to drown out these damn malcontents, misfits, and miscreants. Here's one for you right here. Here's a typical product. This clown, let's see, where's this person coming from? Is running for office. Let me see. Who is he? Here, I got the headline here. Would you vote for Kentucky congressional candidate Megan Winfield? Citizen Free Press. Would you all vote for Megan in Kentucky? Let me play it for you. And how many in the chats would vote for Megan?
Hi, I'm Megan Wingfield, and I'm running to be your next Congresswoman in Kentucky's 2nd District. And over the last few months, with your help, we've went over to 8 different counties, going to county fairs, protests, meetings, picnics, Democratic Party meetings, and getting to talk to so many people throughout the district. And through that, we have made so many great connections and heard lots of great stories. But now we want to get back to our roots. To get back to what started this campaign to begin with. So meet me here, where it all began. Right here at Fountain Square in downtown Bowling Green, October 11th, this Saturday at 12 p.m. Meet me here, and let's have a conversation about next steps, how we can build a better future, to save our democracy.
Oh, I'd love to. Oh, I'd love to show up to that. Yeah, that's obviously not a Megan, okay? That's a Mickey that thinks he's a Megan. And the filthy language on his shirt, anything goes. Anything goes. That's why I'm against using foul language on YouTube. I mean, just a little scrap of respect for people. If somebody's kids are watching, but there's nowhere safe to send your kids on social media. Nowhere. They've already been exposed to garbage and filth. So I'll put this meme up because since the SHIT word gets thrown around so much, here you all can read it for yourself. Get a screenshot of that and put it on your Meta, okay? Sometimes the only thing they understand is force. I'm like any normal person. I'm worried for Trump tonight. Aren't you concerned? He's going to Israel and Egypt. He's got these homegrown menaces at home. People that are in our government that are working for foreign ideologies. And the street criminals they have. Look here, Tom Homan. And I still want to get to the bottom of, I'll get to it in a second. Border Czar Tom Homan detailed why he continues to fight for a secure national border despite the relentless personal threats he endures from those opposed to President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. I haven't lived with my family in months because of the death threats against me, but my family understands the important mission. I want to know. Because what happened was they say, we've got video of Tom Homan taking $50,000 bribe. That's what they leak out of the FBI. Then you get these people start feeling justified. They start calling Tom Homan a thief and all this other stuff on top of everything else. They dehumanize him just like they dehumanize everybody else in the conservative movement and justify threats and violence. He wasn't in office. Everything about that situation, whether I don't give a damn if they got it on Technicolor video, okay, surround sound. I don't give a damn because it doesn't meet the parameters of a bribe because he wasn't a public official. I've taken and I've given bags of money, damn it. What's the difference? Why, I don't take checks, okay? I'm cash and carry. I bought cars for cash. I bought cars for $12,000 cash. Count it right there on the table. So it turns out somebody in the FBI did an entrapment operation that wasn't even within the parameters of the law you could define as bribery. They just wanted to get him on film taking cash. And they used our $50,000 to do it. Their wages, their time, their salaries, all paid for us, by us. And Tom Homan got $50,000, okay? You tried to entrap him. And ain't anything against the law about accepting cash. Especially if you're not even a public official. But who started that? Who was behind that operation? And I'm sure I think we're going to find out. Kash Patel's going to expose it and get rid of them. Here is officers of the court. From what I understand, they say legal AF. Okay, so they're implying that they have a knowledge of the law. Are they officers of the court, attorneys, members of the bar, lawyers? What the hell are they? But here's the way they paint the President of the United States. What is this red arrow pointing right to his ear about? Already crumbling is what that says. And it's a picture of the Letitia James indictment. Why would they put that sharp arrow pointing right toward Trump's ear? But here's their, if you want to watch it, New York AG got the judge she needed. Oh, she did she? And a poorly drafted, easily dismissed indictment. And the opponent she craves in Lindsay Halligan for the new frame job. A frame job. What they tried to do to Tom Homan? Indictment Trump ordered against her. Popak updates on this fast-breaking story. This is the kind of crap I think people should lose their law licenses over. Incitement and misleading the public. Well, this is some bad news here. And nobody's taking any joy in it. Can you imagine if this was Trump? What we would be seeing posted on Blue Sky and all these other nitwit leftist social media.
Okay, we're back with a Fox News alert. Former President Joe Biden is now reportedly undergoing radiation therapy for his aggressive prostate cancer diagnosis. The treatment is expected to last 5 weeks, and we will keep you posted on this story, and our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family.
Can you imagine if that was a report done about Trump? The nauseating things that would come out of the left. Here's the poll numbers on in Virginia. Spamberger for Virginia, 47.7. Winsome, 45.1. I don't know who Donna Forgov is, but she got 1.7. So it looks like a very close race. But news agencies are reporting that Spamberger has like a 10-point lead, 8 to 12, somewhere in that range, depending on who you're listening to. But this outfit here, Trafalgar, is calling it much closer. Lieutenant Governor Senator Hashmi versus John Reed for Virginia. Very, very close. But here's the big one. This is Jay Jones, who made that disgusting post that we've all been over about his political opponents expiring and their children being harmed. He's down 43.1, and this Jason Miyares, who Trump endorsed, and he notably did not mention Winsome Sears' name. He never has endorsed Winsome Sears. And people are like, well, we want a Republican to win. Well, if Trump's not endorsing her, I'm giving her the side eye. Because like I said, it's going to be a lot worse for us if you got a rhino Republican in there than you had the dirtiest, grouchiest Democrat you could find. A rhino would be worse. So, but the Attorney General's office is really the keys to the kingdom, in my view, especially in Northern Virginia, which is crooked as a dog's hind leg. And the judges, the prosecutors, so many of them up there in Northern Virginia are leftists. You get a conservative attorney general, basically the chief prosecutor, that's a lot more valuable than a rhino Republican for governor. So anyway, we're going to keep an eye on that because Virginia is part of what? The DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, a beehive full of liberals and malcontents, miscreants, and misfits. Clandestine put up the Israel derangement syndrome crowd are massively coping. Trump bringing peace to the Middle East blasts a gaping hole in their entire narrative, and they don't want to accept it. They will say anything to avoid admitting Trump saved Palestine like they claim they wanted. If the peace deal holds, Trump actually secures lasting peace, will they admit they were wrong? Of course not. How do I know? Because they're the same. They did the same thing with Iran. They said Trump would start World War III and was going to send U.S. soldiers to the war to die for Israel, and none of that happened. They refused to acknowledge they were wrong, and they refused to give Trump credit, claiming the peace deal would not hold. They're going to do it again. Anything to avoid admitting they were wrong about Trump. That's right. I concur. I got a friend who had an old saying. I don't know if I could say it on YouTube. He used to call me Junior. He said, Junior, something would happen and I'd say something negative. He'd say, Junior, you wouldn't be happy if I hung you with a new rope. You wouldn't be happy if I hung you with a new rope, boy. Exclusive, Jack Posobiec puts up. Steve Bannon petitions the Supreme Court to overturn J6 committee conviction, citing executive privilege. So we got another SCOTUS issue up there about his arrest. Petitioner, a former executive branch official, relied in good faith on his attorney's advice to delay compliance with the subpoena issued by House Select Committee until executive privilege disputes were settled or clarified. So we'll see how that goes across. I'm sorry, I didn't check to see what people thought about this. The Clintons having to testify in Congress is apparently going to be delayed because of this government shutdown. Do you think when those dates go by that there might be a change in their strategy with the Democrats? Do you think that might be, because that's Pandora's box, don't you know? What's this video? Let me see. What's going on here? Oh, this is a helicopter crash. Where'd this happen? In California? I mean, they plopped right down. I think luckily so. The trees broke their fall. 5 people are in the hospital or were taken to the hospital. Nobody died, thank goodness. That thing is suspended about 7 or 8 feet off the ground. And what we used to say was it's suspended about 7 feet or 8 feet off the ground. And what we used to say was it's not the fall, it's the sudden stop that gets you. It's the sudden stop. And if it slowed down that crash, whoa. Oh, I thought I got rid of the wrong thing. The trees might have saved them. Anyway, here's something else from Trump. I'm pleased to announce that the great Dan Scavino, this is a good one, folks, a good one. In addition to remaining Deputy Chief of Staff of the Trump administration, will head the White House Presidential Personnel Office, replacing Sergio Gore, who did a wonderful job in that position and will now become the ambassador to India. Dan will be responsible for the selection and appointment of almost all positions in government. You see that, folks? Of almost all positions in government. A very big and important position. Congratulations, Dan. You will do a fantastic job. President DJT. Yeah, you think there's going to be a bunch of purple-haired, blue-haired leftists getting in? Even one? Anywhere in government? I think not. Trump put this out. The Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which it is, a lot of very good people will be owed big apologies. What a scam. Do something, President DJT. What about Capitol Police? Moles. Not just FBI. Like I said, they would have had more people on the ground than we had National Guard in Chicago at J6. Greg Jarrett, the great Comey Con, how St. James, well, they called him the Cardinal, plans to put Trump on trial instead. Former FBI Director James Comey publicly calls for a trial on his indictment charges, but his legal team immediately moves to prevent the trial through dismissal motions targeting Trump. I haven't seen, maybe Andrew Branca will go over those dismissal motions. He's had a lot to go over with these crazy judges, I can tell you that. Check out the attorney Andrew Branca. You guys will enjoy his content. He's humorous, he's smart. He is a member of the Supreme Court Bar, and he's been practicing law for 35 years. And he's an expert on Second Amendment. So some lefties have been putting out these flyers saying, I believe last night and tonight, we're going to be laser day or whatever, where you're supposed to get your laser and shine them at helicopters. And they had a hospital reroute their helicopter flights so they wouldn't fall victim to this. So whoever's putting out them damn flyers should go to jail. Not, for the one that spit on Ed Martin, she got time served. No, we need to stop this. These judges are letting their crony operatives off easy. That's got to stop.
2 News has learned that some people are planning to shine lasers into the sky this weekend in an attempt to ground federal helicopters. This comes after there's been multiple arrests in recent days for laser pointing, both at police and federal aircraft. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Dunn.
I'm Deborah Knapp. K2 is now working to confirm what group is trying to coordinate these efforts to bring down federal helicopters. K2's Thanvi Verma joins us live now from the ICE facility in South Portland. What is happening right now, Thanvi?
So, Deb, things are not only peaceful, but they're very lighthearted. If you look behind me, you can see people have come out in costumes. You have people dressed up as pickles, bananas, frogs, even a hot dog. And at least one protester tells me he hopes things remain peaceful just like this. Protests outside the ICE facility have been going on for months. On Friday, K2 News got word of a possible new tactic, a call to shine lasers into the sky to ground federal helicopters that are flying over South Portland. Ron Magnus is a flight instructor in Washington County. He warns of the dangers of pointing lasers into the sky.
The dangers primarily are blindness on the part of the people flying the airplanes, the pilots and the other crew members.
The FBI writing on its website, when laser beams are aimed at any piloted aircraft, whether military or commercial, what might seem like a tiny beam on the ground can blind aircrew, potentially causing a mid-air collision or other incident.
In terms of shining lights at them, it's not something that I'd participate in.
At the ICE facility, one protester tells me he's not on board.
I think there are better avenues for getting our message out, like more effective resistance.
A spokesperson for the Portland Police Bureau tells us they regularly arrest people who target police aircraft.
Yeah, arrest them. And plus, they can permanently blind you if you get hit in the eyeball with a laser. What's this? Oh, here's one of these Midas trash things right here. I copied this because I'll be interested to see how this works out for them. 6 days until we, as a nation, stand up once again and say that we have no kings here. Find a protest, show up and show out. Most importantly, be safe. So let's see how that's supposed to go. 6 days, what would that be? The 19th. I think that's what Rachel Madcow was advertising for him. 19th. Here's, I will put this in the Truth and Reconciliation category. This is CNBC. Okay? And this is Hakeem Jeffries. He's getting put in a little trick box here. He doesn't look too happy.
Government open and then going into the normal appropriations process. I mean, there was an election, and the Republicans were put in a position where they were able to pass the big, beautiful bill, or you call it the big, ugly bill. To then say, we don't like any of that, so we're going to shut down the government until you take back all the things that you duly passed through legislation. If Republicans had tried to do that to the Inflation Reduction Act or the any of the acts that Biden and that administration have passed, if they said we're going to shut down the government because we don't like any of those things you did, we're going to not pay our military, we're going to, not allow the government to reopen until you do what we want. After an election where the American people put Democrats in power, you'd be going crazy. You'd be going crazy about using a shutdown of the government with a continuing resolution to get what you want just because you don't like what the Republicans did. It's not how it works. It's bad. It's bad precedent, and it's just clear. And you're talking about the House. You've already passed this. The Senate is who we're talking about, and they have a bill which will reopen the government right now. with 5 more Democrats.
What is bad precedent is the Republican refusal to engage in bipartisan negotiations. What is bad precedent is the Republicans embarking on a my way or the highway approach from the very beginning of this Congress. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Joe, you're exactly right. So if the government shuts down, they've made the decision to shut the government down. And they can reopen it right now if they chose to, with a rule change in the Senate. But I just explained it. The reality is they want to keep the government closed. Cruelty from the very beginning of this administration has been the point. And the responsible thing to do is to sit down and negotiate a bipartisan path forward to address a very real healthcare crisis that's upon us right now. Open enrollment starts
can you
on
do
November
that? Can you do
1st.
those negotiations while the government is reopened? I think that's the offer that's been on the table. We did hear the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, talking about how, look, he passed a clean CR. There's not really much for him to politic in because there's nothing to take out. Any Republican pork that they pushed into this to take out of it to offer as a way of getting around this. Can you reopen the government and have these conversations if there's a willing party on the other side, which it sounds like there is if you talk to some of the Republicans who see this as an issue in their district as well?
Well, certainly Marjorie Taylor Greene has made clear that it's a very real issue. It's an issue that Republicans have ignored throughout this year, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed right now. Mike Johnson has made the representation, including at that White House meeting that we had last week, after Chuck Schumer and I reached out to demand that we have the conversation. Unfortunately, it took place literally a day before the government shut down because Republicans have refused to engage in bipartisan negotiations.
He's blinking a lot. They blink a lot when they got to try to think about what they're saying, because it's like Mark Twain said, if you tell the truth, you don't got to remember as much. You just tell the truth. You know, when you're blinking, you're trying to pull stuff out of your rear end, out of your backside. Trump put this up. Don't worry about China. It will all be fine. Highly respected Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it. President DJT. Well, that's in response. What were some of these articles that were coming out about stocks? Here, this was on Ruski Media, but it's same narrative going around. Trump's sharp statement about China shocked the markets, hitting stocks. Currencies, Bloomberg reports. Bloomberg. No, it didn't have anything to do with China sending out that letter to all countries out of the blue, putting import and export duties on all rare minerals. It didn't have a thing to do with that. It's all Trump's fault, right, Bloomberg? President Donald Trump's threat of a massive increase in tariffs on China's goods shook Wall Street. A little more than that. It was China sending those nasty letters out at the end of an already volatile week amid growing concerns about a bubble in the artificial intelligence market. His remarks, I don't believe it was his remarks, led to a 2.7 drop in the Standard & Poor's Index. NASDAQ lost 3.5. The dollar fell, blah, blah, blah. Oil prices fell. What the hell's wrong with that? We want oil prices to fall. Putin doesn't want them to fall because he's making money hand over fist. But he won't be for long. Won't be able to keep financing his war. How many times has Trump said that? Donald J. Trump put up, the Ukraine impeachment of me scam was a far bigger illegal hoax than Watergate. Ha ha. Shout out to Richard M. Nixon. I sincerely hope the necessary authorities, including Congress, are looking into this. Adam Shifty Schiff was so dishonest and corrupt. So many laws and protocols were violated and just plain broken. President DJT. Yeah, there's a lot of people looking over their shoulder right about now. Right about NOW now. Oh, wouldn't you like to see Adam Schiff getting raided and being perp walked? Lord Conrad Black. Because President Trump did it, there's been little recognition that it is the greatest diplomatic achievement in the Middle East since the founding of the State of Israel, and is a gigantic step forward toward peace. Yeah, because Trump did it, they don't want to acknowledge it. And, you know, I didn't mean to go get so animated over that. It wasn't so much that comment. It's just that comment that I talked about earlier shines a light on how we have been automatically brought to be ashamed of our country, or that we destroyed something good and noble here on the land we're on right now, rather than what Trump always tells us. We should be proud of it, that we tamed the wilderness. Okay, we brought civilization from savagery. And it's so prevalent and been taught for 50 years. 50 years, great guns from junior high school, grade school, junior high school, and college. A guilt trip to be put on us. And that's what's got me upset. Not so much comment. And, you know, plus the other things. But anyway, let me see. Here's Maria Bartiromo. Let's see what's being said here.
I think it goes all the way up to the top, to President Obama, to Vice President Biden, to Hillary Clinton, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, so many players within the Obama and Biden administration. And I think it also includes the lawfare Democrats, these prosecutors who coordinated with the Biden White House to bring these indictments against President Trump.
And there's also a grand jury being prepared right now, right?
There is a new grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, and that would be a good place to do this grand jury investigation for what they did to President Trump.
Okay.
The Mar-a-Lago raid's the hook.
Yeah, the raid on Mar-a-Lago is the hook. We're going great guns, folks, and I guess they keep saying that we're doing distractions about the Epstein files. No, I think they're running distractions on what is going to be happening soon. Like I said, you're going to need a school bus or 2 or 3 full of people to get with the cops chasing them to make this meme accurate. So anyway, this is in Madrid, Spain. I hate to end this on a negatory note, but this is in a museum with kids around, people learning about history, and look what they do to their own hero, Christopher Columbus. But anyway, folks, I went the whole broadcast, and I didn't get to mention, I appreciate Mike and Bev for going by Buy Me a Coffee and helping me out this week. We're in the second week of October, and this is a totally viewer-supported channel. I'm not monetized on YouTube. On Rumble, I have a link to Buy Me a Coffee, and on YouTube, you just type in Goggle. You just put Buymeacoffeemountainman, and your support will be greatly appreciated if you appreciate my efforts. So anyway, as I was saying, this is a museum in Madrid, Spain, and the attitudes that another thing that proves to me that this is a worldwide infiltration of a narrative. It's all about narrative, folks. The Matrix is a narrative, okay? It's about narrative. It's people's mind being put in a psychological prison. But anyway, folks, I'll go ahead and play this video, and I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. And I should be broadcasting tomorrow if everything goes okay. If not, I'll be seeing you probably Wednesday, but let's hope for tomorrow. If you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. And please don't forget to hit that thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Or give me a thumbs down. I mean, be honest. Y'all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
De historia. Mira cómo se llevan a la rata esta, a tu madriguera, gilipollas. Inculta, que eres una inculta. No se fueran ahí las cosas. Vaya mandada la que han preparado. ¿Y esto?